so much. Hi, everyone. How are you today so far? Okay, awesome. First, I want to thank the Automotive Association of Peru for having me here today. And also thank you for coming here and listening to this discussion today. Um, I am personally passionate about AI and where AI is taking us. I think we're at a very important um, part of our times for our generation, and knowing AI, how AI impacts us, and what are the actual actions we can take is very, very important for us and for our businesses. And this presentation is hoping to give you a foundation of understanding the AI and giving you probably some tools to measure as you go through your journey of deciding what AI tools to use and what not to use, have something to measure it with, and makes you a good expert in this field. We sort of came to this thing that we met with Alfredo and the team where I was speaking at, I believe, NADA, National Automotive Dealer Association in the US. And we all discussed the possibility of this today happening, and I'm so glad happened. So we have, I think, about 34 or 5 minutes. I'm going to try to squeeze this in as much as I can. So let's get started. So this is what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about different categories of AI. I think it is important we understand the fundamental of AI. So we hear AI here, AI there, AI is everywhere. But what is AI? Like, what is the component, like the basic understanding of it? And then we're going to talk about how AI is being used in our everyday products that we're using right now, every day, whether we know it or not. And we're going to talk about AI employees in car dealerships, and we talk about anatomy of AI employees. And that part gets a little bit technical, but when I get to it, it doesn't matter. I will explain further that if it is too complicated, that anatomy part, it is okay if you feel overwhelmed. You don't have to know it. It would be really for people that would like to learn more. You could completely skip that part from your memory. And then we're going to talk about what's coming. Q&A, I believe we don't have here, but I will be outside, and it would be a pleasure, and I will be happy to really discuss about everything that comes to your mind. So I want to start by telling you a story. Um, in 1748, a university professor created a process. Back then, they call it artificial cooling medium. And it took 50 years, almost 50 years, for the first refrigerator to be designed on a paper. So theoretically, we could have something called um, a fridge. That back then wouldn't call it that. It was called something else. And then it took another 50 years almost to build the first version of a typical fridge we have today. And then it took another 50 years after that for the first home electric refrigerator to come to life. Mr. Fred Wolf, which we might have heard the appliance called Wolf. It's a high-end appliance these days, but back then it was the only option. And the picture you see on the right is the first electronic refrigerator that was built. Why is this important? Um, the reason is in the study of social science, when a technology is used by 50 million people, we call it mass adoption, and we say this is a product to stay. And I want to show you guys an interesting sort of chart that for a refrigerator, a typical product, it took almost 200 years to get to 50 million user from the point of our story. So from 1913, it took almost 200 years to get to 50 million user. For telephone, it took 75 years. You could sort of go all the way down for ChatGPT that it only took 2 months. So this shows that as humans, we are getting more used to adopting mass technology a lot faster. And we are the rate of adoption for major technology has gone from artificial cooling that took 200 years to artificial intelligence that took only 2 months to get to 50 million users. In the social sciences study, every 25 years is a generation. So in other words, it took 8 generations to have, a fridge, artificial cooling as a mass technology, and it only took 2 months for an artificial intelligence for the society to accept it. And why is this important? It shows the rapid rate of change in our current society. So if I was back then, so what was before the artificial cooling? There were this business that you would go with the horse to frozen lakes. That was an actual business, and they would chop big um, chunk of ice, and then they will bring it to the center of city, and then they will chop it off into smaller pieces, and then they will sell it. So if you were in that business, it was okay if you really didn't care about this new technology called artificial cooling, because it would take 8 generations to put you out of business. So probably wouldn't even meet your lifetime. But with artificial intelligence only taking 2 months, it will catch up to you at your current generation at the current life. So um, what I'm trying to really say here is as the managers and leaders of your businesses, you drive and lead the change. And the change is happening so fast, whether we like it or not. And AI is here to stay. It is not something that is going to go away if we just don't pay attention to it. Thomas Edison says, a leader's job is, if there is a better way to do it, to find it. Steve Jobs says innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And Jeff Bezos would say, what's dangerous is not to evolve. And that's the last one, is really the one I like. So evolving and changing is your job as the managers of your businesses, as the decision makers of your businesses, because it's happening so fast. But how can AI drive change in a dealership? Okay, let's say we agree that AI is important, and we know it's going to have effect on our dealership, but what are the changes it's going to have? How is it going to affect our dealership? Let's dig deeper on that. Before we discuss that, it's very important to understand the AI as what it is and what it does. This diagram shows 4 technology that together they came to create AI. So for many of us, AI with the birth of ChatGPT was a moment of, oh, we have AI now, and the news started talking about it. But the fact is, AI was way before that in production, being built. And you have 4 components for AI, and I sort of connect it to human brain so that it makes it a lot easy to understand. So the first stage is what scientists call it natural language processing, or short NLP, and we're going to reference that a lot. So what is its job? It's to understand the text. So when we give a text to computer, we need it to understand what is it talking about in a computer language. So NLP does that. NLP, natural language processing, understand the text. But what about images and videos? How does computer or AI understand images and videos? That's the job of computer vision. So these are the things that you might have like heard them as you sort of go along, but now we're trying to sort of bring them all together and give them a meaning and a direction. So computer vision is really the science of understanding and analyzing images and videos. And then once you let the computer understand images and video through computer vision, understanding text through NLPs, or natural language processing, then you need what we call machine learning, right? Machine learning really analyzes data, Excel sheets, and everything else that comes with those images and understanding of text. It's kind of like a brain, as the icon shows, right? So the computer vision is like an eye, if you would like to compare it. Natural language processing, maybe like an ear, where it hears, um, and the machine learning is like a brain. But let's say we see, we hear, our brain processes, but then now we need to speak. We need to generate a response. We need to generate a response by either drawing something or talking as humans. That's how we do it. So we hear, we see, our brain process it, and then we respond by either using our mouths to talk or using our hands to draw or show a gesture. The exact same way AI would work. And that part is what we call generative AI. So that's the part that recently has been a lot of advancement. And that was the missing key, like why AI wasn't being used or really being useful as much as we loved it was really this part was missing. And in the past few years, that's the part that has been really progressing significantly. So what is a generative AI? Generative AI basically generates text, generates image, generates video. So you've probably heard the word large language models or LLMs. Basically, they just generate text. And you might have heard diffusion models or image models or video models. So those diffusion models are basically generating images and videos. And that's basically the whole understanding of AI in comparison to human analogy. You have the NLPs here, computer vision, C, machine learning, the brain, and then the generative AI really generates the response back. So let's look at it from everyday use cases, right? How does these four components work everyday use cases? Let's say the original ChatGPT that came out, it used NLP to understand what you're saying. So let's go back, right? So NLP was natural language processing. So you use an NLP to understand, and then you use generative AI to generate text only. It was only able to generate text with the large language model. And so what changed in the ChatGPT 4.0, which was a huge advancement, now it could see that eye was added, computer vision was added, understanding of images. So now you could give it an image, which is right now, you can give it an image and tell it, oh, like, how can I repair this light bulb? Actually, I used this before I come in here in a weekend. I should have had this under hood light that I took an image and say, hey, how should I change this? And amazingly enough, it actually gave me a correct instructions. And then you use a generative AI to generate images, right? Instead of giving me an image of this or how should I do this and generate text. Self-driving cars. Why self-driving cars are so damn complicated to create? Because they're literally using all these four components to their maximum effect, getting as close as you can get to an actual human. When we drive as humans, we're using every sense we have, from hearing to seeing to everything you can imagine to be able to properly drive. So it uses NLP, uses computer vision, it uses machine learning to analyze what are we seeing? The passenger is coming. You know what is the meaning of that sound? It analyzes the pictures, and then it generates a response asking the car to press on a brake or do something like anything else. Google Homes, Alexa, Siri, any of these, they're the same thing. Midjourney, if for some people that are looking into this, Midjourney is a generative model, the most advanced one for image processing. Dolly that now is merged with ChatGPT and Sora. They're all generative AI NLP. Google Translate, if you notice recently, it has advanced significantly. The reason is that it used to translate word to word, but now it uses NLP to understand your meaning of what you're trying to say, and it inputs that. It uses that when it's translating it using machine learning. And things like YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Amazon, as you scroll into content, they understand what you like and they show you similar music. They show you similar products that you want to purchase through advertising. We're going to talk about all of that, how It's going to be useful in car dealerships. So what about car dealerships? Current AI application for car dealerships, we could divide them into, you could use them in merchandising, which basically means the science or the process of you getting your car ready, put it on your website, add it to your inventory management system, to your dealer management system, to your website, marketing and sales, customer service, and helping managers, helping you as we go along. Let's talk about merchandising. How does AI really helps in merchandising? So it helps you create consistency. One of the big problems we are a software company, and one of the big problem we hear is that in a dealership, even though that you train the staff to do the photography in a certain way, they just don't listen or they quit. And then the next person, you have to train them again. If you could automate that and have AI understand a car, understand all the images of a car and create that consistent for you, that would be amazing. And AI does that. It does it very fast in a scale. Um, for any of the dealerships that have been trying to edit their images, make the background look nice and consistent, the only option was to have humans doing it, and that would take about an hour per image. And imagine now that's reduced to less than a second per image. So speed, scale is what is coming in terms of getting images ready. Higher quality, more accurate, and more accuracy. So for example, in this sample on the lower left, so let's say that is a real photo. And then this one in the middle, the background is removed. A sort of a photo studio look is put on with the brand of the dealership looking like as if it is in a photo studio or that one in a different backgrounds. I think you would agree with me that the one in the middle looks a lot nicer than the one that is in a parking lot. So AI can use the computer vision to understand the image on the left. So how does that work with those four models we talk about? So computer vision understands this image that this is the background. Those cars are like extra, not important. This is the subject of our discussion. And then the generative AI regenerates an image with the instruction of having the car in the middle and merging it with the background. So this is a very simple action that an AI does for a car dealership. Um, so an AI can detect the view angle using computer vision and machine learning because through the machine learning we teach it that okay, images like this are three-quarter passenger front view, and from now on, your staff don't need to do the mistake. The computer automatically detects it and then uploads it and put it up. It can detect damages, right? For some of the dealership that would like to disclose the damages to be more transparent. It can generate actual videos of your inventory automatically. This video that we're about to see is entirely generated by AI. There was no human involvement in it. Let's look at like, just part of it because we're short of time. So the background was removed from the front angle. All the specs was actually automatically generated by having access to the inventory of the car dealerships. And different designs, different templates gets used to show the video. It has a voiceover as well, where it helps the dealerships go through. Um, this one, many dealerships they like their sales reps to be more active and be more active in social media. Nowadays, social media plays a huge part in selling cars, bringing customers in. The conventional method of marketing is completely changed. But the problem is that it's almost impossible to get sales reps consistently go to the lot and generate these personalized videos and post them to their social media. What if you could automate that? This video you're about to see is entirely generated by AI and shows a salesman talking about the features of an actual car that is in inventory and invite people in a short video post that can go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Reel, and invite people to come to the dealership and visit it. I don't know if it is possible to have a video for this. Sorry, have an audio for this active if it is possible. But we could just see. Let's go back. Let's play. This 2022 Dodge Charger is brought to you by Riverside Auto Sales, your neighborhood trusted dealership. This Dodge is powered by rear-wheel drive, automatic transmission. So this is a sample for that, and then let's listen to. With a turbo diesel and four-wheel drive, this crew cab is so this was fully generated. That salesman does not exist. Well, just the car does. And this becomes a super powerful tool that automatically customize it, creates a customization at a scale. One thing I always repeat, what AI is bringing is the capability of customization at the scale. So if you leave today from this presentation with one sentence, that is customization at a scale. And that means the AI will give you the capability of customizing everything to the need of the people or the platform that you want to advertise. So if you're doing advertising in Facebook, maybe landscape looks better. If you want to advertise it in TikTok, you want to portray with somebody actively having a car behind it. So you could automate that. The best example I give is you definitely remember email marketing, all of us. And in the early days of email marketing, you literally had one fixed static email that would go to everyone and it was just, hi, come and complete this action, goodbye. And he would send it to hundreds of thousands of people. Literally the same text goes to hundreds of thousands of people. Then the technologies came that we could customize it. Now we could say, hi, John, hi, Jenny. And that was a level of customization. Wow, like we have their name on top. So they feel that this email was drafted for them. And now AI will give you the ability to generate that email, but it's going to look at that customer's social media. It will also look at your inventory. And then the email that it sends, for example, if the family, let's say the wife is pregnant, it will draft an email that recommend to them that maybe it is a time for them to upgrade to a minivan. And then if another customer, potential customer of yours, in their social media are celebrating the acceptance to a university of their son or daughter, or getting a upgrade in their job, maybe it actually generates an email that tells them maybe it is a time to get this compact SUV that we have on a special, and you could buy it at this much discount. So with AI, you could have this level of customization at a scale automatically. Just sit and have your customers show up looking for that compact SUV, looking for that minivan, because you connecting deeply into their daily life and what is happening in there. So efficiency, consistency, speed at a scale, higher quality, and more accuracy. You could do this right now with human, but imagine you want to do that for the inventory, for let's say your entire customer base of thousands of customers that you have served in the past, let's say 5 to 10 years. It would be impossible. Or you have to spend a lot of money and a lot of push and reminders. So you could create personalized marketing. This becomes very important in countries that you have multi-language. For example, in the US, we have a lot of communities that are Spanish, a lot of communities that might be Chinese, might be Italian, and then be able to create customized website, customized background to their need becomes very important. You could create social media posts again that is different the ones that are automatically posted to Facebook is different than the ones that are automatically posted to TikTok because your audience is different. For example, it's Facebook are, let's say, a 30 to 50-year-old, male and female, or family, where TikTok might be a younger generation. And the format of that ad or that post should be very different. If you could have AI does that for you and have a different video and an image created for that car, for that inventory, for each of these platforms, that's the power of AI versus putting the same image and the same text, just copy pasting it across different platforms. We call AI sales coach. So, what if? So this I'm sure it should be true in Peru as well. You guys can correct me. Typically, in a car dealership, 80% of sales happens by the top 20% of sales reps. So you have a couple of sales reps that are really great at a job, and they bring almost 80% of the revenue. And then the rest of that 80% of the sales reps, they're not really as good and not generating and wasting a lot of leads. What if that 80% could be as good as that 20%? So AI can really help you there. It can act as a sales coach, meaning that you ask the top 20%, what's your secret? What's the top 10, top 20 objections you get? And how do you overcome those objections? Ask them to write it down. And then you feed that to AI. And with the general knowledge it has, it said, okay, now the other 80%, every time you get an objection, somebody says, oh, let me talk to my wife or talk to my husband, or I have to think about it, or down the road, there is a dealership that gives a better interest or have a, cleaner car, or I'm comparing between Ford and Toyota. It just tells them exactly what to say word by word, using the techniques that the top 20%, using the technique that your best salesman is using. Imagine how much improvement in sales you could do. And AI can help you that. You're not there to coach every salesman on every sales meeting, but AI can do that for you, and do it fantastically. Customer service, it can help you in customer service. How does AI help in customer service? This is probably the biggest impact it has. An AI employee through customer service, it can does email, it can do email, use email, SMS, and call. It can call, it can send an email, it can send an SMS, and it brings immediate response, 24/7. It will create speed and a scale, and it create consistency. The AI can answer calls after the closing. So many of you probably using answering service when the dealership is closed. If it is a real person answering service companies, those people have no idea about your inventory, what car you have, what you don't have. They don't know about the customer that calls. Imagine you have an AI that answers a call and knows all of that, and it can genuinely help them reschedule an appointment. So they want to come tomorrow to the showroom, they can't come, no problem. Let's reschedule it on the spot, push them for a new time instead of saying, no worries, I'm going to pass it and then somebody is going to call you. Imagine you're posting your car on a marketplace, that somebody goes there and says, hey, I'm interested. Is this call still available? Let's say Facebook Marketplace. Many of these platforms like Facebook Marketplace are based on immediate response. We live in the world that people expect immediate gratification. Like they see something, that's really the whole base of social media and scrolling. We are all part of that. We want immediate response. We want immediate satisfaction, and we want immediate answers. So if somebody said, is this car available? And the next day, and it's after hours, you have lost that lead. But imagine there's an AI employee that knows everything about that car better than a real sales rep. And he's going to respond, answer questions, and push the customers towards an appointment or whatever goal you have. Maybe it is to fill out an application for financing, or maybe it is something to book an appointment, while answers question. It indirectly pushes them to the goal that you set for the AI. If if somebody wants to get an update on an order, gets an approval on you. So um, in North America, so let's say if somebody has a application for financing, it gets approved. So you would have a human to call them and send them an email and do a lot of manual process to let the customer know, hey, you got approved, for the financing. Let's schedule a time to do this. Let's schedule a time to do that. What if you could automate that entire process and even generate a video like the one we saw from the admin says, hey, you're approved for this car. Let's get to the next step. So that is a completely different from what they see from every other dealership. So we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to skip this part. But if anybody is interested, I'm going to sort of show what it is, but just for the sake of saving time. So this basically explains the basic AI employees don't have access to your inventory, to your CRM, which is, customer relation management. And they don't have access to your general knowledge of your dealership, like your working hours, your address, how many location you have, what kind of car you offer, what kind of inventory you have in each one of those. So they're simply like those, after hours live agents that they're just there so that the customer talks to a real human, and they could do very basic. But the more advanced AI employees, which in the past 12 months have been added to the AI world, is that they have memory or they have access to more. So this side, they have access to inventory, they have access to CRM, and they have access to general knowledge. So when they communicate, when they answer a call, when they interact through any form, WhatsApp, email, they literally know everything about the dealership. Where you could say it's almost impossible for human to have this much knowledge right away handy to respond. And let's talk about what's coming. So we have, I think, 2-3 minutes. Um, so we talk about this shortly when we were talking about the ads and social media posts and the custom emails that we would send. So more goal-oriented communications, right? It's obviously we all want to answer customers' questions and solve their problems, but at the end of the day, it's a business. So the goal is to expect the customer to take certain actions, book an appointment, fill out a form, give their credit card information for deposit, whatever that goal is. AI can decide when to send what promotion to what customer to get the highest chance to respond based on the customer's behavior on social media. So we went over a sample of this. It can predict customers' needs before they happen, right? So a family that is pregnant, they may not know maybe in a few months or maybe after the baby is born that they need a bigger car. So the AI would probably predict that and give them suggestions and ideas like come and do test drive this couple larger cars because this car fits in, the baby seat better. It can fit the stroller better. I would recommend get this Toyota or get this, Ford because this one fits all of it. This one doesn't. So imagine you get an email like that. You really think you're talking to an expert, and it helps you towards taking the action. Um, you probably have heard the Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg recent release of their glasses, which is very similar to mine. So mine is not that, but it's really that black frame, very light like this. It's different from what you've seen with the Apple products or Facebook, which is a big box. It's just that, and it has a projector that puts information. It costs about 1,000 US, and the advanced version of that in few years, glasses like that. So they're already built. Like in January when I presented this, that glass wasn't out. This was something that is coming as a future product, but now it's much closer. So customers can see the cars in their living rooms, in their driveway, and be able to swipe them and get information from them. And the idea of showing up to the dealership would be less and less important. So the last few minutes, I want to put how dealership management can benefit from AI. So automated lead handling, predictive analytics and analysis, personalized marketing, and streamline operations. These are the things that AI can help you with in through HR, customer service rules, um, regulations, instructions, service training. All of these you could feed it to AI, and then that becomes something that instead of people go through big books of how to do things and how not to do things, they could actually chat with AI that knows all the rules about HR, all the rules about service training, and help you through onboarding a new employee, whether it's in a service department, whether it's in the front with administration, help you with that. And really, I I truly believe in probably I would say I would predict in 3 to 4 years, you as the manager would have your own R2D2 for people that relates to Star Wars, but for the ones that don't, it's really your executive assistant. The best example is the president of the United States wakes up in the morning and they get the summary of what is happening on planet, and they get all the options that they can take. All the options that they get that they can decide to do are good because they are prepared by people that are super professional. So a president of any country or prime ministers are not necessarily expert at everything. They don't have to be. This is how the democracy system works. But they were given options that are prepared by people that are super professional at their job. So it doesn't matter which one of those options they choose, it is a correct choice. It doesn't matter which one they choose. So imagine you have that executive assistant that knows our entire accounting, knows your entire inventory, and every day will give you suggestions like this month, based on everything I see from the market, it's better to get a RAV4 when you go to auction to buy a car, because most likely in the next 2 months, the need for RAV4 is better than, let's say, CRV or Hyundai Sonata, and give you a bunch of suggestions that you decide when you go to office, take actions. And finally, really the last takeaway is that leverage AI to stay ahead in the market, because I believe this is what I truly believe. I don't think AI is going to take people's job, but I think I truly think dealers that are using AI will most likely steal your customer, and most likely are going to steal your favorite employees. And with that, I'll finish this conversation. Thank you so much.